Beneath the vast Bodhi tree, its leaves gently swaying, the Buddha sat, radiating serenity that touched all nearby souls. A farmer approached, his footsteps heavy with grief, carrying the weight of his family's suffering and his own despair. He seated himself cross-legged, and his compassionate gaze swept over the disciples, lingering on each of us momentarily. When his eyes met mine, it felt as though he could see the burdens hidden in my heart. Breaking the silence, he said, "Today, I will share a truth that often eludes even the most mindful among us." His voice was calm but carried the weight of his wisdom, and we leaned closer to hear every word. Long ago, the Buddha began, there was a humble farmer named Maha, whose life revolved around his small plot of land. His tone softened as though invoking the essence of Maha's existence as he spoke. Each day, Maha would till the soil, sow the seeds, and water his crops with unwavering diligence. He labored from dawn to dusk, taking pride in the work of his hands and the fruits of his efforts. The merchant trapped the sparrow in a gilded cage, denying it freedom, offering scraps, and neglecting the once thriving tree. As days passed, the sparrow grew weak, its songs faded, the tree, untended and suffocated, withered until its life vanished. His voice grew somber as he said, however, his attachment to his farm began to consume him. The Buddha's eyes reflected both the sorrow and compassion he held for all beings trapped in such a state. The farmer knelt before the Buddha, tears now falling freely, as his heart absorbed the weight of this eternal truth. Social justice, said the Buddha, arises when compassion guides human action, and greed no longer disrupts the balance of existence. Maha, desperate to save his farm, worked frantically to secure his crops, ignoring the warnings of his neighbors. The Buddha's voice deepened as he said, the storm arrived with relentless winds and torrents of rain, leaving destruction in its wake. Acceptance does not mean surrender. It means recognizing the presence of pain while choosing to move forward regardless, Buddha explained. The river knows its purpose and destination, and so it flows without resistance. You must also discover your path. Overcome by sorrow, Maha abandoned the fields and withdrew into himself, questioning the meaning of his existence. His voice softened as he said, Maha sought answers, and so he set out on a journey to find the source of his suffering. Darkness exists to remind us that light is always attainable. Let us seek the light together, Buddha responded. Ananda followed the Buddha as they began walking along the riverbank, listening to the gentle rhythm of water. Oppression, the Buddha spoke, breaking the silence, is a shadow that fades when light is cast upon our shared humanity. The farmer left, his burdens lighter, carrying within him the Buddha's teachings and a newfound desire to create balance in life. This river flows not to escape its obstacles, but to embrace its nature. It knows no fear or hesitation, Buddha said. Master, can I find the river's courage within me? Ananda asked, looking into Buddha's calm and knowing eyes. Each disciple vowed silently to spread the teachings, embodying compassion, interconnectedness, and the pursuit of justice wherever their paths led. Through the seasons and generations, the Buddha's words resonated, planting hope and guiding countless souls toward a fair and harmonious world. Under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha sat still, his presence timeless, his teachings eternal, his essence united with infinite compassion. Another day, another crowd gathering as the Buddha entered the bustling city, its streets alive with voices and hurried footsteps. Ananda, begin by recognizing that regret stems from attachment, and attachment blocks the movement of life's currents, Buddha explained. The disciple closed his eyes, reflecting on the chains of attachment that had held him captive for so long. The Buddha turned his gaze to the beggar, eyes filled with empathy, and replied, all beings share the same essence, distinction, the Buddha explained, arises not from truth, but from ignorance, separating lives into hierarchies crafted by human minds. His words carried a truth that seemed both ancient and eternal, and we hung on every syllable. Maha wept, not for the loss of his farm, but for the years he had spent in illusion, the Buddha recounted. Each lotus drew sustenance from the same water, their petals equally radiant under the sun's gaze, reflecting shared vitality. A man, admiring the pond, celebrated only the golden lotuses, dismissing the others as lesser, his vision clouded by bias. His teachings revealed the beauty of detachment as a gateway to true freedom and peace. Maha returned to his land, but he did so with a new perspective and a lighter heart, the Buddha said. Ananda's heart filled with gratitude for the wisdom shared and the chance to move forward without resistance. The Buddha smiled, observing Ananda's awakening with compassion and knowing that his journey toward renewal had begun. The story concluded with a sense of balance restored, not just to Maha but to the very essence of the world around him. The Buddha then looked directly at me and said, "What lessons do you hold on to as if they were possessions?" His question pierced through the layers of my mind, reaching the core of my beliefs and attachments. To walk this path, you must see the fragility of the things to which you cling and release them, he said. His words felt both challenging and liberating, like a key unlocking the door to a new understanding. The Buddha motioned for the beggar to sit beside him, inviting connection and signaling the equality of every soul present. "Come," the Buddha said. "Let us reflect on the oneness of all beings and dismantle the walls constructed by illusion." In the stillness of that moment, the air seemed to hum with the essence of truth, and the Bodhi tree stood as a silent witness to our awakening. Another day. The sun rose, painting the skies with hues of gold. As the Buddha led us to a serene clearing, the morning air was crisp, and each of us felt the promise of new wisdom as we followed him. We gathered in a circle, the dew-covered grass soft beneath us. As the Buddha began to speak, his voice, calm and deliberate, seemed to echo with the resonance of universal truths. "Today, I shall tell you of Surya," the Buddha said, his gaze distant as though peering into the annals of time. Surya was a warrior, proud and unyielding, whose sword was both his strength and his shadow. His words painted an image of a man whose life was defined by conquest and the pride it cultivated. The Buddha nodded, his smile carrying immeasurable warmth, as he beckoned others to reflect on the parable of the lotus pond. Through cities, villages, and faraway lands, the Buddha's teachings flowed like rivers, connecting lives, erasing divisions, fostering unity and compassion. His eyes swept over us, as if to ensure we understood the weight of his words. One day, Surya came upon a village where an elderly monk lived, renowned for his wisdom and tranquility. A merchant approached, his robes fine and adorned, carrying a troubled heart hidden beneath his outward wealth and success. "Master," the merchant began, bowing deeply, "I have given generously, yet peace eludes me. Emptiness lingers within my heart." The monk accepted with a serenity that puzzled Surya, for it was unlike any response he had ever encountered, the Buddha said. His tone conveyed the quiet strength of the monk, which stood in stark contrast to Surya's aggression. The merchant knelt, his troubled mind yearning for the wisdom hidden in the folds of the enlightened one's teachings. "Let me share a story," the Buddha said softly. "A story of a flowing river and its eternal purpose. There was a river that gave its water freely, nurturing thirsty travelers and nourishing the land with unwavering generosity. The river understood its purpose. Its giving was peaceful, unburdened by greed, expectation, or attachment to recognition. Exhausted and humiliated, Surya fell to his knees, acknowledging his defeat before the seemingly unarmed monk. the Buddha said softly. The silence that followed his words seemed to echo the warrior's realization. True giving, the Buddha explained, comes from understanding interconnectedness. The giver and receiver sustain harmony together. The merchant lowered his gaze, tears forming as the Buddha's words revealed the void within his own acts of giving. Generosity is not measured by quantity, but by intention, the Buddha said. It must flow like the river's nourishing waters. The disciples leaned closer, each absorbing the wisdom the Master shared, their hearts illuminated by the truth of his words. Surya, in that moment, saw his reflection not in the monk but in his own heart, the Buddha said. His voice softened as he added. He realized that his victories had built a prison, the walls of which were formed by his pride. The Buddha motioned for the merchant to sit beside him, inviting him into the circle of disciples gathered under the tree. Let us reflect, the Buddha said, on giving and receiving, the balance that sustains life and fosters true justice. From that day, Surya abandoned his sword and embraced the path of humility, seeking the wisdom he had once scorned, the Buddha said. His words carried the promise of transformation, the kind that arises from the ashes of ego's defeat. The Buddha broke the silence, his voice serene and steady. Compassion thrives when giving is free, pure, and without pride. Through his meditation, the merchant envisioned acts of generosity rooted in humility, seeking nothing but the joy of interconnected harmony. The Buddha's words continued to flow, their cadence like the river itself, guiding each listener toward mindfulness and understanding. Oppression arises, said the Buddha, when greed governs hearts. Justice flourishes when the heart's river flows freely to all. His words pierced through the layers of my own pride, exposing vulnerabilities I had yet to confront. To let go of pride is not to diminish oneself but to unshackle the spirit and let it soar, he explained. Under another tree, on another day, the Buddha's voice continued to guide, his teachings timeless, his essence eternally present. The morning sun climbed higher, its light casting intricate shadows that seemed to mirror the complexities of our inner selves. The Buddha's words had illuminated not just Surya's journey but the path each of us must walk. Another day, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden reflections over the lotus pond where we gathered with Buddha. The tranquility of twilight settled around us, and the Buddha's presence filled the air with a sense of anticipation. His gaze lingered on the still waters, and his expression held a depth of compassion that seemed infinite. Today, I shall speak of Arun and Ravi, the Buddha began, his voice soft yet resonant. Two brothers, born of the same parents, found themselves divided by the illusion of separation. His words carried a gentle sorrow, as though he felt the weight of their division. Arun was fiery and ambitious, while Ravi was calm and thoughtful, and their differences fueled conflict, he explained. The Buddha's tone grew somber as he said, their quarrel over their inheritance led to bitterness that darkened their hearts. He paused, letting the gravity of their estrangement settle in our minds, and the quiet of the evening deepened. For years, they lived apart, holding resentment that grew with each passing moment. The Buddha continued. His voice held both the pain of their separation and the wisdom that would later heal it. One year, the rains failed to come, and the village faced the desolation of drought, the Buddha recounted. His words painted an image of parched fields and desperate villagers, and we felt the gravity of the situation. The villagers united to dig a well, pooling their strength to find water beneath the dry earth, he added. Transformation begins with gratitude. Honor the past's lessons, recognize its gifts, and release its weight with compassion for yourself. Kumara closed his eyes, breathing deeply as he meditated on the Buddha's wisdom and sought clarity within his thoughts. His words brought forth the tension and unspoken grief that had defined their relationship for years. As they dug, they labored not as brothers but as strangers. Yet their hands worked toward the same goal, he narrated. The moment came when they struck water, and the well overflowed, quenching the thirst of all who had labored, the Buddha recounted. His voice grew softer, as though revealing the subtle yet profound lesson hidden within the event. As the cool water rose, the brothers felt its essence flow through their hands, connecting them in an unspoken bond, he said. They realized then that their separation was nothing more than an illusion, for the same water sustained them both, the Buddha explained. His gaze swept over us, as if inviting us to see the truth of oneness within ourselves. Arun and Ravi turned to each other. Their anger dissolved in the face of their shared humanity, he added. His tone conveyed the beauty of reconciliation, a moment both fragile and transformative. The water beneath the earth had always connected them, just as the thread of existence connects all beings, the Buddha said. His words carried the wisdom of interconnectedness, offering a perspective that transcended the boundaries of the self. To embrace oneness is to transcend suffering, for separation is but a shadow cast by the ego, he explained. The Buddha's voice grew quieter, though his presence felt more profound than ever. My disciples, let go of the boundaries you create, and you will find freedom within the infinite unity of existence, he said. His gaze held both compassion and expectation, as if urging us to reflect on the truths he had shared. The lotus pond mirrored the emerging stars, and the evening air seemed to hum with the essence of interconnectedness. The garden swayed softly in the morning breeze, its quiet harmony reflecting the wisdom of renewal and transformation. As the day unfolded, Kumara rose with determination to plant seeds of intention within the soil of his heart. The Buddha's presence lingered, guiding Kumara toward the serenity of transformation and the light of renewal. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.